everybody, I'm Tommy, and you are on the boat. New Zealand, good to have you here. What's happening? Linda, Gardner lady, what's up? Beach girl, really happy that you all are here. Do me a favor, everybody. Smack that like button. Hit subscribe if you haven't. Hit the bell for notification. When I go live, you will know about it. So, it's the first time I'm going live today, which is rare for me. I'm not going to rain, splitting headache. We are in the middle now of Carnival, which is like our Mardi Gras, except it's on steroids. This is getting a little difficult to sleep. And then on top of that, I've been working this one fairly long. And to be perfectly honest, I've got a brain-splitting headache. But let's go over a couple of things here real quick. Number one, the gloves, right? The DNA in that doesn't match the DNA in the house. It also does not come back to anything in the CODIS system. So whoever had that gloves, those gloves that were miles, right, from the crime scene, they don't come back to anything, right? And we speculated about this as a community. We all kind of thought that there was a chance that was going to happen. That's kind of far-fetched, honestly, that they would be tossing that out of the window. Yeah. So, but here's the thing. They come out and announce that they've got these gloves. This could be a case breaker, right? All of these things kind of get leaked out. The reason we're in the crap storm that we're in right now is because of a lack of communication from the people that are doing this. They don't need to tell us everything that's going on, but what they're picking and choosing to tell us is absolutely stupid. So let's start with something that I just keep getting crap about. The family being exonerated. The family, the first time that this guy said this, I'll go over this again. The first time that the sheriff said there's no way these people are involved was on the 5th of February. 5th of February. On the 6th of February, they were out searching Annie Guthrie's house. On the 7th, they were there at Hanny's home itself for about 3 hours. Investigators took photos, took bags of potential evidence, and wore gloves. 2 days after they said they're not suspects, they served search warrants on Annie's house. Why? Well, because that's where they were playing cards and they needed to drive her home from there. If they weren't suspects, now you could say, well, they're just trying to eliminate the crime scene. Then you do that on the first couple of days. You don't wait a week in to start doing that. Also, today, I got confirmation from people that yesterday, there were people asking questions about Thomas and Annie around the neighborhoods. Why did they clear them? Well, they said that they turned over their phones and their computers, right? So that was cleared. There's nobody that follows true crime that thinks that this guy would have done this on his own phone. I find it hard to believe anything that they tell us. Gary Cushman, I don't blame you. I do too, right? Sheriff Nanu, Jason, well played. This guy's kind of an idiot. I'm sorry, he really is. And I know that people are going to crap on me for that or whatever. He's got a tough job. You're sure as hell right he has a tough job. This is probably the toughest job that anybody in law enforcement could be doing currently anywhere in the world. So what you do is you bring in the best and then you ignore them, right? You bring in the best and they have access to Quantico where you can send this stuff off. These gloves that we found out about, we could have known this last week. If the sheriff didn't have an issue about the size of his manhood and needed to get into a pissing contest with the FBI because at one time they may have investigated him. If that pissing contest wasn't going on, then we would already have known that this wasn't a match, man. Of course, they wouldn't use their own phone, says Allie, which is why, and I said this long before any of this came out, that one of the questions they were asking was, did you ever see this guy with more than one phone? They haven't been eliminated as suspects. And if they had been, then this is the worst cop in the world. Because until you figure out who it is, no one is eliminated as suspects. Now, they may be saying this. No way the family is actually cleared, especially if DNA isn't back yet. The sheriff is an idiot. He is. Sadly, this guy's an idiot, and this is an issue. It's over. The bad guys won. Oh, no, they didn't win. The bad guys didn't win. Now, if you mean that she's dead, then maybe, if that's what you mean, but they're not going to get away with this. Nobody does. They're going to track them down. It might take a month. It might take 6. It could take 5 years. They're not going to get away. They never do. Mistakes will be made. Someone will say something. There's a lot being made about the Harvey Levin situation. There are people all over the world now who believe that Harvey and his letters are real, right? Yeah, the dumb sheriff is an absolute idiot. But then let's get back to this. On February 8th, follow-up searches occurred at Annie's home. Keep in mind, they ruled them out 3 days earlier. But they went back on the 8th for more searches inside the house. Checks out, right? Honestly, is anyone dumb enough to believe this? I mean, so the difference between the 5th and this time is he wrote it down. The problem in this case across the board, the narrative now is that Us armchair quarterbacks and those people that are fans of true crime are screwing this case up. Not the guy that released the crime scene at hour 30, right? Not the guy that called off the search at hour 30. Not the guy who got there, saw blood, saw forced entry according to him, saw signs of struggle and violence inside and went, maybe she wandered off, right? Maybe she kicked the ever-loving crap out of herself, blood all over the inside of the house, thrashed the place, and then wandered off. This guy has mishandled this from the very first day. February 10th, visible door-to-door canvases resume with teams searching nearby desert terrain, noting license plates and requesting surveillance video from local stores. 9 days later, killing it, right? Killing it. This isn't how the FBI would have done it. It isn't. But they drag their feet, bringing them in. Sorry, folks. Last night. Yep. And there's 1 million people here instead of 60,000. It does slow down cable. I get 1,000 megabytes per second. And nevertheless, this is going to be hard. Allie says, I believe Ashley Bansfield's source. Yeah, no, she doesn't. She's a professional. People are going to crap all over her, too. Her source told her what the truth was, that at that moment he was the number one suspect. The sheriff is so unlikable that it's difficult to believe. He comes across totally untrustworthy. I agree with you, and I lived in Tucson. Ask anybody in Tucson what they think of the guy. The guy's an idiot. There is a 98% vote that they have no confidence in him, and this is the people that work for him. This is the union. The kidnappers stopped giving letters to Tucson stations. They did. After the timeline had expired, not one other letter has come in. But I talked about this at the time. When you say you're going to get this to me by such and such a date and you don't provide any proof of life, they're not going to pay you. At which point it's like the cult leader that says, the Venusians are coming back to take us off of planet Earth, and they're coming back Tuesday at 7 o'clock, right? Wednesday rolls around. That person doesn't have a whole lot of credibility left. There was nobody ever sending those letters. Kidnappers get paid because they prove that they have proof of life. Did the person die first? All of that's a possibility. I am putting together a more comprehensive show on this, and I'm going to be doing one. If you're just getting here, I haven't gone live today because I have a brain tumor style headache behind my left eye. You may have noticed that sometimes my left eye starts doing this one. So I have a traumatic brain injury, and you can see it when it's getting bad on one of my eyes. It is what it is. But when they were doing those, the door-to-door canvases, they were doing it more in Annie's neighborhood than in Nancy's neighborhood. That's odd. Well, because we really need to see if she really left that house in the car. What are we looking for? We're looking to see if that car really went over there and if it really came back. They're absolutely still looking at these two as suspects. And now they want us to think that they're not, because we're figuring this out quicker than a lot of other people, I think. Now, if it comes out that it's not him, I don't owe him an apology. You hear me? I don't. He's the best bet. I'm not doing a Richard Jewell thing. I'm not putting out information saying this guy is guilty. I'm saying he looks guilty as sin. And right now, I don't see anybody that looks like a suspect. 80% of these crimes take place because family gets in on it, right? And of all of the family, I'm not seeing anybody but him as a suspect. The family can't be cleared. It can't. And the problem is you lose credibility the same way that the people that send the ransom demands are, right? Here's what happens. When you say they're cleared and then you go search their house 2 days later, we're not going to believe you the next time you say they're cleared. Maybe do the search warrant before you say they're cleared. I don't know, right? Seems like a decent idea. They're still looking. Hello, baby. They're still looking very heavily at this family. Yeah, Jared Peterson says Tomato's going to laugh when everybody leaves and he gets what he wanted in the end. Well, he's going to have to wait some time to get it. With no body, he's not going to be getting any inheritance very quickly. That's just not how it works. Hold on one second. What happened? I was a skier. Spent way too much time upside down on skis. I did inverted aerials, backflips. Stop by and look at pictures on my Instagram. I think there are pictures of me skiing on there. I just had way too many concussions. Eddie, thank you. I really appreciate it. Folks, this isn't going to be a long one, right? First of all, there isn't a lot to say. There really isn't. And look, if you go back, I'm not trying to spike the football here. I'm really not. Hey, Auntie KK. Yeah, I'm going to take care of myself. I promise. Brian Enton is probably renting an apartment in Tucson because he is down for the cause. I think Brian Enton gives a very solid job of reporting on this. I'm a little bummed out that they outed Carlos the way that they did, right? When they were saying, what's your son's name? What's your son's name? That was a little uncool. I don't blame him for walking up to the front door and filming. But make no mistake, that's how you leave DNA everywhere. You don't have to bleed on something or masturbate on something to leave DNA, right? Touch DNA, skin cells flake off, all kinds of bad things can happen. But if you go back from the beginning on this, I haven't been wildly off on anything. I really haven't. The glove stuff, I said, this is ridiculous, man. This isn't going to pan out. In the very beginning, when they said that it was 1 hour plus before they called 911, I said, if that's the truth, then this family's guilty of sin. It wasn't the truth, but we're going to speculate on it because you gave us the wrong friggin' information. There is no communication right now between law enforcement and the community. The community isn't what it was in 1950. If you don't realize you live in a very different time, then maybe you need to get your feces together because everybody with a cell phone is reporting on you, right? The bigger the story, the bigger his pay packet. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's that way for everybody. Here's the thing. If the drummer of the band is nowhere to be found, why is no one talking about him? No one's talking about anybody, right? People like I am, right? People that do content creation are talking about these things. And if they came out tomorrow and said, no, we brought Dominic in, we talked to him, he decided to leave town because this is really tough on him. Everyone thinks he did it. But we've already questioned him. We've already put him on a polygraph, right? He gave us DNA. We'd be going, oh, well, sorry. We move on. We look for the next person. Megyn Kelly is the worst. Patty, I hate to say that. I used to be a fan. But right now, Megyn Kelly sucks. I'm sorry. She really is, man. Megyn Kelly is ghoulish. Well, she's forever saying the day that she died. Does the sheriff not know that there can be mastermind? He does not necessarily have to be at the crime scene. Tomato is somewhere involved. Well, it certainly looks that way. And I'm not going to argue with any of the people that think that. I'm not. To me, this guy still looks good for this as a suspect. And the first time they told us this, we talked about it on this show, right? He came out and he basically said things to mock Ashley Banfield. It's irresponsible to say that these people could be involved. They are in no way suspects. Now get a search warrant and get out to that house, take pictures, take luminol. Let's get bags full of stuff being brought out of there. You know what, Lisa? I did sleep a lot last night, believe it or not. It just didn't come until about 5 a.m. when the partying stopped, but I slept late into today. I got up, I did some work, I talked to my wife, I laid back down and went back to sleep. And I promise you, I'm going to be sleeping more. You know what? Can anybody argue this? Honest to God, can anybody argue this? For real, can anyone argue this? I get the impression the sheriff is purposely trying not to solve this case. He's an attention whore. There's a great clip of film, I talked about it, where he went out to talk to the press and a big black dude from the FBI put his hand on his chest and pressed him away and said, yeah, we're not doing any statements. The FBI wants to handle this one way. The sheriff wants to handle it another. The sheriff seems to be inept. The case is old. Do you mean cold? Because it isn't even close to cold. It isn't even close to cold, man. I'm not being a ball buster, but if you're new to true crime, cold cases don't start being called cold at less than a month old. They're chasing down leads, right? And they are. They're going to gun stores all over the area with 40 names and 40 images. Now, what does that tell you? Right? That they're picking these names out of a hat, but there's a crap load of people that they're looking at. Only we have to start parsing words and saying things like, they're not a person of interest. I'm going to a gun store with a picture of you and your name. You're a person of interest. You understand? Think about it. You're going to a gun store and going, hey, do you know this guy? Trust and believe they're interested in that person, man. It tell me nothing. CMP, I'm done. You, at this point, you're not a communicator, man. I have no friggin' clue what you're saying. The case old, it tell me nothing. I have no idea what you're saying. I cannot make fun of Megyn Kelly's appearance. Is nothing sacred? Oh, I didn't make fun of her appearance. The sheriff has no shame whatsoever, and that's scary. The sheriff does not have a problem having a fist fight out in public with the FBI. And then when people find out about it, because a lot of the rank and file are saying he's holding evidence back. You're holding evidence back? There's stuff that you know that you're not giving to the feds. Why? Well, because they're so damn bad at investigating stuff. You know, they've got that pesky little lab up in Quantico that doesn't have a really great track record. Are you woofing me? No, you'd rather keep it in Tucson. I love Tucson, but where would you rather have your mom's disappearance investigated? In Quantico or in an independent lab in Florida that can't put someone into CODIS, right? So we're days behind. There's no arguing we're days behind, right? Days. I think you got some money for this. I can't go that far. I can't. I don't know that the guy's crooked in those terms. I think he's an egomaniac, and we all have a pinch of that, right? Every content creator does, I promise you. To sit in front of a camera and talk to hundreds of people, you've got to have a little bit of an ego issue. But I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. I come out and I do it. People want me to admit I'm wrong on neckbeard. I'm not yet. I'll come out and say it when I am. Watch the video I did apologizing to Carlos. I put it in the freaking thumbnail. I will absolutely come out and take the heat and apologize. There's nothing to apologize for yet. And for the asses that really want to yell at me about it, send in an email. I read all of them. How is everyone doing? Lottie, good to see you, Lottie. I'm glad that you're here. Many sheriffs are counterproductive. That's the truth. They're elected officials, and very often they haven't been prosecuting or investigating anything for a very long time. Seeing sheriff out in public at a basketball game showed me who Frank really is. Yeah, you know what? Sadly, there's something to that, isn't there? In the beginning, I said Frank Neckbeard is a chimera. Watch. Okay. Tommy, we are weeks behind, and there was a locksmith at Annie's house today. People that open safes. Yeah, locksmiths do open safes. They also replace locks on doors if a lock was jimmied in someplace, or if somebody got in through a slider, because most of the people in America don't realize that any criminal, and I mean any criminal, can get into a sliding glass door in 2 seconds. If you have not put a stick, it's a lot cheaper than calling a locksmith. The little track that those things slide in, cut a broom off to the same length of that and put it in there. Because the way that a crook gets in there is they put their hands on the glass and they push it up. And there's a little hook like this. That's what locks. Goes up and down. So if you lift it up off it, you can slide the door. If there's a stick there, you got to break the glass. Thieves don't want to break glass. I have no clue on the suspect's unzipped right hand jacket pocket. I know a lot of people are speculating. I'm not. That is outside my wheelhouse, man. I can usually tell you what a crook is thinking, kind of a thing. At this point, isn't the FBI in charge, not the sheriff and the police department? Why doesn't the FBI just tell the sheriff to shut the feces up? Yeah, that would be a really great idea, Lisa Trimble. Unfortunately, it doesn't actually work this way. The jurisdiction in this case falls under the Pima County Sheriff's Department. And until they can verify 100% that this is a federal offense, they're still going to be the jurisdiction. Even after they verify it, he's still going to be participating because he's got a bunch of boots on the ground. There's a bunch of people that the FBI can say, do this, do that, do this, do that. None of the DNA was fruitful. No, none of the DNA was fruitful. Now, that does not mean that it might not hit somewhere else, right? But here's the biggest problem with that. They're chasing something that's a waste of time. You mark my words. Now, the DNA inside the house, let's get that into CODIS. Let's get that into all of the sort of the private networks of people that keep large amounts of DNA, like the people that are looking up their ancestry and all of that kind of stuff. And look for partial hits in CODIS. You don't have to get a total hit. If you go into CODIS and they go, well, X number of these indicators showed, you can find family members and start chasing it back that way. You don't have to get a total hit. But if there are no matches in CODIS, they're going to have to go to a private network. And that needs to get done. We'd already be doing it if that stuff had been sent to Quantico. You understand? Quantico doesn't have to test it, then take it, then put it. They can do all of that stuff, right? As they're testing it, the other people are putting it into CODIS, which is run by the feds. This has been the worst mishandling, and yet there are people who are still supporting this guy. I guarantee you that they vote one direction. I'm not being a dick, but the sheriffs, unfortunately, are usually either a Republican or a Democrat sheriff, right? They usually run on one ticket, which means that the other side hates them, and you get this back and forth. And we defend people because we are ideologues. We defend people who suck at what they do. Now go talk to the people who work for him. 98% had a no confidence vote. 98 out of 100 people, right? He might have a cousin in there or something. The rest of them went, no, this guy's got to go. Unfortunately, they can't fire him. The only people that are going to be able to fire him would be The governor, I guess, could get rid of him. I don't know about the mayor, but sure as hell, the people at the ballot box could. And there's reason to believe the guy did some really janky stuff to win the election. I talked about this on another show. I'm not going to do it now. But I will say this. I know we want to get together and talk about this. I can't do it now. I can't. I feel like someone's sticking an ice pick in my left eye. But hey, my wife is going live at the top of the hour. You might want to get over there and check her out. If the sheriff can prove that he gave the scarred-lipped drummer and Tomato both a polygraph, then I will maybe believe him a little bit. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Give me some evidence for why you ruled this guy out. Well, we need a Grady Judd. Where's Grady when you need him? Yeah, give us something. The fact that you looked at their computers, I mean, how dumb would you have to be? Would this kidnapper really buy his gun from a gun store? Probably not, right? And I mean, if he's really a criminal, probably not. If he doesn't have a criminal record, he might have. However, when they say that they're going and checking these at gun stores, they're also probably checking pawn shops. They're probably checking anywhere that you can buy a gun. And there may be somebody in the mix that isn't a criminal. Like if you got 3 people in the organization and one doesn't have a crime, they may be dumb enough to go buy it from a gun store. I wish that we could get a much better blow up. Allie says, I don't think the gun is real. Neither does Johnny Scoville. And I know that people laugh at that. I was in prison with bank robbers. I was in the prison with all kinds of people. And the number of them that were carrying fake guns would blow your mind, because it is difficult. If you want to commit a crime and you're already a felon, you can't buy a gun. Now, if you're a real criminal, I've said this before, and I've been out of the life a really long time. If you dropped me in any city in the United States of America, handed me 5 $100 bills and said, you got 2 hours to go buy an illegal gun, I could get it for you. It's just the way it is. The people that do these kind of crimes hang out in places. They're very easy to find. Now, they have a pretty good nose for snipping out cops. But I promise you it would not be hard to get. They'd be better off hiring Dog the Bounty Hunter. You would think so. This is absolutely, no one puts a gun in their crotch either. It's very odd to carry a gun that way. I will stipulate this. There are, believe it or not, a ton of people that carry guns like that, but they do it with a holster that lays on the inside. It's a small little holster that goes inside your belt. And there are people that like the gun inside so you can't see it, and they make a holster for that. However, it's usually just a little to the left or just a little to the right of your junk, right? Especially as a guy. You're not going to lay it right on top of your Johnson. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm trying to figure out if kidnapper parked around the garage, ripped out the front door camera, couldn't gain entry, went back to the back, broke the back door, got inside. Nancy ripped the mask off in a fight. If Nancy got that mask off in a fight, there is so much DNA in there. I promise you, if that balaclava got ripped off in a fight, there is a ton of DNA in there. But Luigi had a 3D gun. He did. Tuck gun aimed at Peony. Probably not such a great idea. It's usually off to the right or to the left. Can't tell if it's a real gun. Yeah, get them likes up, people, says Knight Rider Gaming, and I appreciate that. Normally, I would go an hour on a show like this. I really am dying. I'm going to go and I'm going to get more sleep. I'm going to try to get another show up tonight. I'm not exactly sure what time it's going to be, but please keep stopping back by. I'm going to chase this down, but right now I'm going to pull on the Falcon hood. It's a frozen thing that you pull over the top of your head, makes you look like a falcon, that knocks down the not on top. You're right, Allie, not on top of your junk. I think they call it appendix carry. Like that's what a cop would call it. It's not what a criminal would call it, but they call it appendix carry. So it's just a little bit off. Kind of if you look at the image of the guy from who is it, Da Vinci? Okay, you see the muscles then that come up. You've got that sort of V cut right there, kind of lays in the V. It's very unusual where that thing is being carried. Bet Neckbeard is on that list of 40 names. That's a great comment, Deanna. That is a great comment. I'm thinking the pistol looks like a cheap 100 high point. Oh, Mike, God help us. If that's a high point, he's more dangerous carrying that gun than he is trying to go into someone's house at night. If you don't know what a high point is, they try to make them look sometimes like Glocks. You got about a 1 in 10 chance it's going to fire. It jams every single time. It is the worst made gun in history. High points are absolutely awful. They look cool, though. But they're not a good gun. They really people. I don't even get in the same building as a gun. I I am just a boring old man stiff. I don't break the law anymore. I don't do anything like that. Why are they not looking in Mexico? They are looking in Mexico. If the family aren't suspects, why don't the sheriff just release a video of Neckbeard dropping Nancy off at the house? Interesting. What's really weird, too, is in the very beginning, they said that they knew the garage door opened. This was Barney Fife. They knew the garage door opened when it did because it was caught on camera. Then they backed that up and said the device that actually opens the door told us that. Well, which one is it? Right? He has misled us so much, and now they want to shit on us as content creators for speculating. Well, you kind of blew that up, didn't you, Barney Fife? I mean, good God. First you told us that the family was there for an hour and 7 minutes. You go in and find blood on the porch and take an hour call. Oh, no, it was under 10 minutes. Well, that's a pretty big friggin' difference, isn't it? It's stupidity, the way this has been handled. And if you think I'm going to lighten up on Barney Fife, then you need to find a new channel because I'm going to shit all over this guy until people do something about it. He's an idiot. And the reason that Nancy hasn't been found has a lot to do with him more than anything else. This guy has an ego problem. There has never been any kind of harmony in his department. Even when the feds aren't there, there's no harmony. The average person in robbery homicide has been there less than 2 years. Did you catch that? If your mom's missing, do you want a homicide detective that's been there 2 years, or do you want to bring in the FBI? Well, apparently Neckbeard knows better. I'm sorry, Barney Fife knows better. And that's why Neckbeard is no longer a suspect. That's why the family has been cleared. Not once, but twice. However, I would be looking for search warrants in the next couple of days, man. Right? Because truthfully, the last time he said that they were not suspects in any way, well, we saw them serve search warrants within 2 days back at their house. So don't believe anything you hear. And honestly, they shouldn't be clearing them. The FBI also has a database from the border crossings they can check. They also have snitches throughout Mexico. I promise you. We have so many people that work in Mexico. And snitching in Mexico is it's a great way to make a living. There are people down there that work with the federal authorities on everything from drug dealing to abductions to corruption. And you hand them $500, that's more than 1 month of what most people in Mexico make, legitimately, the cost of living, right? So you throw around $100 bills, you get a lot of people that want to go out and talk. They're looking in Mexico. Don't delude yourself. They're looking in Mexico. They're going to all of the pharmacies in Mexico with a list of the kind of drugs that she would take to see if anybody bought them there. I promise you, the feds are smarter than we are. They are. At true crime, they are smarter than we are. However, Barney Fife is not. And unfortunately, he is still kind of running this investigation. This is a bad situation, but we are not YouTubers that are just watching YouTube, right? We are people that watch true crime, and I think that most of the people in mainstream media are assuming that we all just kind of figured this out for the first time. Hey, holy shit! There's this stuff called true crime, and this Guthrie woman's missing. Let's see if we can't watch a video on that. Right? A lot of us have been watching these videos and studying stuff like that. I promise you, I could sit down with Neckbeard and we could wrap off one case after another. I'll do a better job of knowing what those cases are than he does. This is a guy that hasn't worked a case since probably my high school prom. He's an old man. He should go home, play with his grandkids, maybe get a puppy, take up fishing, maybe hunting. But this ain't your gig, right? Politics have no place in an investigation, right? And this is a problem. All right, people, I'm going to be back tonight. In the meantime, my wife will be live in about a half an hour. You should go over there and check her out. Her name's Relatable Reese. That woman. Between now and the next time I see you, smack subscribe button over at Chase the Heat. That's my brother, Johnny Scoville. Do me a favor. Hit that like button on the way out. If you've not hit subscribe, you really ought to. I'm going to try to see you again tonight. Hopefully I will. If not, I will definitely be back tomorrow. I've got a pretty rugged headache working at the moment. But, yeah, I'm going to get out of pain. Really, really love this crowd. Great group of people. I appreciate all the support. I will be back, and I'm not coming back just for more money, right? If there aren't stuff to talk about, I'm going to do a show on something else, and I hope you will come by and check it out, right? Between now and then, put a little love in your heart. I am Tommy. We'll see you on the next one, and keep praying for the Guthrie family, and maybe pray that we get rid of this idiot sheriff because he ain't making anything happen. Let's catch you on the next one.